What's happening, everybody? Glad to see you. I am here still in Accra, Ghana, and getting ready to wrap up another Maximum Impact Travel experience. And so looking forward to being able to share some of that with you. I wanted to address a particular topic based on a video that I released yesterday. And the video was about the informal development in a community near Soweto in South Africa. And I was shocked by some of the comments, and I was very disappointed in the comments. And I'm gonna walk it down for you so you understand the disappointment, and it just kind of speaks more to the whole colonization and imperialization, all that kind of stuff. But so this video basically took you inside of this informal development and inside of the homes, inside of the schools, inside of the whole community. And I was invited. When I was in South Africa a couple of weeks ago, I put it out and said, hey, look, I'm in South Africa. I'd love to interview, talk to people. And so there were several people who reached out. And so the opportunity came up to go to this particular community. Now, I have shown every which way of Western colonization, development, and anything you can think of in every country that I visit, because I know the mentality of the majority of the people who are watching, and that's the first thing they're looking for because that's what they've been raised under. And it was no different in South Africa. I showed you from Durban to Cape Town to Joburg, 5-star restaurants, 5-star hotels, culture, people, conversations, the whole nine. But when this one particular video came up, among a few people, there was a problem. So let me walk it down for you. I was invited to go to this community so they could tell the story. If you watch the video, and I didn't even lead, I just asked questions and followed the flow of the tour. So I'm like, okay, I recognize the garbage of CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, Fox, and any one of these other little outlets out here that intentionally peddle a negative narrative about any place they can find in Africa so they can continue for their masters to continue to exploit and take advantage of the people. When we talk about changing narratives, changing a narrative is not simply promoting the most westernized or wealthiest accommodations or amenities that are present. Changing narratives also play a part in telling a different story and giving voice to those who might have been exploited in the past, but you give them the microphone and you let them tell a story. And that's exactly what I did in that video with Jack in that community. I followed his lead, showed everyone nothing but respect, and allowed the story to unfold. Some people don't like that reality. And what they would have preferred for me to do was to go somewhere else and tell the story. But I didn't get the invitation somewhere else. And so I went to where I was invited, and I allowed the story to be told in the words of the people in that particular place, without any tremendous editing, without any, it's a very straightforward walking through the community discussion. Many people wanted to make a point that where that informal settlement is not in Soweto. So those people over there are not a part of us, without even understanding what's happening. Because what really resonated with me with that whole thing was the mentality. And I mean, the vitriol that people came with. I was like, well, this is insane. This is like crazy. Because another person made out a point. They said, well, you know, a lot of people have been through traumas and all of this other kind of stuff. I understand that, and I'm sensitive to it. But one thing I've learned in life is you don't have to absorb someone else's trauma or toxicity. And that's one thing I don't do, is absorb someone's trauma or toxicity. And so, hey, showing that might have been a trigger for someone, but that's where they need to go get help, and they need to go reconcile that issue within themselves, because there was nothing in that video that could be remotely offensive. And if you watch my words and everything, I was very careful to ask him what he thought. It was so, because somebody was like, well, I don't know what his agenda is. There is no agenda. But if you're going to change a narrative, and all we do is have BBC and Al Jazeera and all of them tell the stories, and we don't tell the stories, then it's almost like saying, forget them people, throw them away like they're nothing. And sorry, please unsubscribe, because I'm not going to do that. See, the one thing about this channel is that I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here, my livelihood doesn't come from YouTube or any social media platforms. When I made a decision to do this is why you don't see certain aspects of my life on this channel, because I really don't care what, my thing is, here's the information, you do with it what you please. Will you agree with all of it? No. Because, one joker was like, well, I'm unsubscribing now. I was like, well, please do, because I don't want you to follow me. Because if that's your mentality, if you have, all you're doing is looking at one video and not going through the entire library of content that I've produced, then we don't need that following anyway, because if you're that easily dismissive, then please go do what you need to go do. So, but this is where the thing got deeper. The attitude of people to point out how these people in this informal development were not a part of them. But I'm saying, but these borders that were created, these borders of these countries that we fight over, this country's better than that country, and this country's better than this country. And I'm saying, do you understand that those country borders are artificial borders made up? These labels that we've been given, these names, whether it's Black, African, African American, whatever country you want to pick in Africa, all of these were given titles by imperial systems that have sought to alter the indigenous origins of the native people, whether it be through ethnic cleansing, or not even, I don't want to call it cleansing, ethnic erasure, cultural erasure, all these different things. So when I'm hearing people who come from, and some people are like, well, they came from somewhere else. Okay, well, it's still human beings. I don't know, first of all, I don't know what BBC and all of them reported. I don't know what they did. All I know is that when I put the invite out or put the invitation to do an interview, then I was invited, and that's what I did. And so just like when I walked through Nelson Mandela's house, nobody had a problem. Well, then I'm going to walk through the everyday person's house too. Now people have a problem. That's a sickness. And the sickness is called classism. Because as long as people look good, then they're good. But no, that family member over there, that's the drunk family member, so we don't want to tell people about that, because people have heard about them, so we don't want people to know about them. And that's when I realized that for a lot of people, the very thing they complain about, as far as racism and all these other things that have happened based upon skin color, is the same mentality that they had towards those people living in that informal development based upon their socioeconomic status. Don't talk about them. Act as if they don't exist. Forget them. But then I asked myself, what about those children that I saw playing in that informal development? What about them? But yet, would want someone to come and do a report about their community. And I told them, this uppity mentality is the very thing that's been plaguing brown communities and people in general for thousands of years. But on that particular video, which there was nothing, there was all that whole video was designed to do was to change the narrative and to give people their own voice. And you have a bunch of uppity Negroes who want to come with their uppity mentality and with whatever insecurities and whatever unreconciled issues they have, and try to make something out of nothing. Meaning to try to say some sort of agenda or something. It's like, hey, let's tell a story. And if you even see the first video that I did when I arrived, and how the brothers were out there and how we vibe with each other. One thing about what I do is I'm going to be consistent wherever I am. People who see me and run into me, whether I'm in Kenya or Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, wherever, they get the same response. So there's no need to, I don't even know I don't even know what the craziness was all about. But other than the fact that people didn't want that reality to be shown. And so the other thing I realized is that we all fight the same battle, because the same stuff is going on in America. And uppity Negroes in America want to act like we all bourgeois and we all got this, that, and the other because we got a couple degrees and we got a little bit of money in our pockets. And so we want to go into the classism mode and act the same way, the exact same way that we complain about. The exact same way. We want to get into their spaces. We're so busy kissing their butts that we want to get into their world and be accepted and get their Grammys and get their Oscars and copy what they do as they copy what we do. And we want to be validated by them. And so at the expense of saying those poor people, don't show them. Don't show them people over there. They're not a part of us. Just be clear that that's their community and we are different from them. We're a different sect of people. And so we need to make sure. And somebody said, well, why didn't you go, again, I know I'm repeating it right here. Why didn't you go to another park? Because I wasn't invited. Invite me, and the next time I come, I will come, but I don't want to go to no uppity Negro's house. I don't want no uppityness. I want people who are down to earth and real, because the uppityness is like the destruction, which is, well, you know what it is? It's another repackaged form of white supremacy. So it's basically you putting blackface on white supremacy when you start dealing with uppity Negroes. And you be uppity Negro, uppity Black American, be uppity African, or whatever the case may be. But the reason why I take the time to address this is because I think in all of the foolishness that I've heard in the comments and all of that, that by far took the cake. And again, I encourage you to watch the video. Like, somebody who got good sense can look at it and say, wow, I learned something here. Okay, cool. These people are resourceful. These people are clean. These people are, you look at their homes and the narrative is like, it's sad. I think the part for me is sad, because the very people who think that they got something are the ones who are really deficient and broke internally. And if you learn to appreciate certain things, and somebody was like, well, I don't feel any pity for them because they're doing things illegally and all of that. And I'm saying, well, you need to go to the British, the Dutch, and talk to them, because if anybody started the whole illegal thing, then that's where it all begins, with them. And so if these people are in a situation where because of imperialism or whatever, it can be whatever, and they're trying to survive, it is what it is. So I make no apologies for the video. I think the video is brilliant, and I think the people are brilliant, and I think the people of that community deserve human respect. I think that to counter what the BBCs and the CNNs do, we need to have that narrative where the people tell the story. There are no NGOs attached. There are no, we have no organization where we're doing anything to raise funds for it. Anything that goes, you talk to him directly, have that conversation with him, and work it out. But outside of that, there is no financial incentives, no financial compensations, or anything. So that's the deal. I mean, like, I was in the process of working on like a really, really impactful video about my trip to South Africa. I mean, really something special. I had such a good time in South Africa. But I will say that those comments are really sad and disgusting. And I don't believe that reflects the majority of South African people. I refuse to believe that. I mean, I know that they're like when you have fringe elements of Black Americans that come with some off-the-wall, half-cocked, insane stuff. I know that doesn't represent all Black African American, indigenous, I don't know what we want to call ourselves, but you know who I'm talking about. And I know that the majority of South Africans don't roll like that. I hope not, because those people in that community are people too, whether they migrated from somewhere, I don't, or whatever the story is. Those are people, they're children, they're a part of the community, they're not going anywhere, and that's just the reality of the situation. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. That video is going to stay up. I'm proud of the video, and I'm proud of what the people are doing in that community. And I also want to say, for those who recognize, those in South Africa who recognize the importance of the conversation and understood the heart of the video, I appreciate your words of encouragement for sure, and we continue to dialogue. And if someone has a non-uppity home in the 99% or want to tell a different story, then we can definitely sit down and add to the conversation. But what I'm not going to do is just go to any country and talk about all of the westernization and then forget the economic disparities and forget some of the other scenarios that are taking place. Otherwise, I'm an agent at that point for white supremacy. And I'm an agent for continuing to be one to be a co-conspirator in the oppression of brown people all over the world. And that's, this channel, I could get up here and just tell y'all all types of nice things. Hey, come buy this house, come do this, come get this, come get that. Well, we have that in there too. Look at these properties that you can get. There's another piece of the puzzle. And I would be disingenuous if I walked around and did not acknowledge the other aspects of what I see. And there's a lot of disingenuous people out here because they're pimping the game and they're pimping, social media platforms and pimping the minds of people who don't want to acknowledge the realities of what's facing them. And these people, again, cry foul. I wish it's injustice and this stuff isn't right. But yet, in the next breath, we just keep those people away from me. They're not us. It doesn't matter. But please make sure I get my fair share at the table. Please make sure I get my, but oh no, they're not. Oh, those poor people over there. Oh God. And that's the uppity Negro. So we got to do better, y'all. All right, if you dare, subscribe, like, and share. Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.
The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister, and you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana, and then we're going to go on a safari, and from there we're going to go to Ethiopia, and then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on a children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity. They begin to learn more. And hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation, and they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity. They're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing the Adventures of Darren and Destiny.